Ajo is a pathetic bum who got rejected by his crush for being a risless loser. However, his life takes a turn when God destined him to have 100 baddies fall in love with him, all wanting to have a piece of his sausage. But before all this, it was the last day of school, and before graduating, Ajo tried to confess his feelings to a girl to end on a high note. But the girl rejected him due to being a limp-willy loser. Later, his buddy asks him how many times he has gotten rejected, and when Ajo tells him 100, he asks him how that happened. Ajo explains how he has been rizzing girls since the beginning of time, but it still confuses the friend why no girl wants to get clapped by Ajo, as he considers Ajo to be a handsome Chad packing the biggest meat. Later that day, Ajo goes to the temple to pray to the god of love, begging him to give him some baddies on his ding-dong. But from out of nowhere, the god pops up from the box, almost scaring Ajo's socks off. He assures Ajo that his destined lover will show up, but in disbelief, Ajo turns into a ghoul. The god of love informs him that he will feel the connection with his soulmate and that there are 100 of them waiting for him. And while Ajo chooses to believe this old bum, he promises that he will burn down this shrine if he lies. The next day, Ajo starts his new school year, and on his way to class, he runs into 2 baddies at the same time. But in that moment, the 3 of them feel a tingling connection with each other. When Ajo tries to help them up, the pink-haired busty baddie, Hikari, acts like she got shot and begs him to pump her full of his baby batter to make her feel better. Ajo cries out of guilt, but instead of getting the ick, Hikari folds and sees him as a total gentleman. The other baddie, Karine, gets jealous when seeing this and also fakes her injury while acting like she's not interested. Ajo starts beating himself up out of guilt, which makes the girls worried and gets up from the floor. But when he questions it, the girls pretend to be injured again. He then takes them to the nurse's office, where both girls keep trying to push their melons into him, sending him off to meet Ace. Just then, some girls walk past them, talking about how if someone finds a 4-leaf clover and proposes to someone with it, they would accept their feelings. The girls quickly run away, trying to get their clover. After school, Ajo sees the girls in the courtyard looking for the 4-leaf clover, and he goes to help them. When Ajo approaches Karine, she gets defensive, saying that she's not here for the 4-leaf clover. However, Ajo offers her a drink and she accepts it before thanking him and running away so she can gobble it down somewhere else. Just then, Hikari pops up, and when Ajo also gives her a drink, she asks him to drink half of it first, as she wants to get his indirect kiss. After he drinks a little from it, Hikari gets too excited to drink and ends up spilling it all over, wasting Ajo's precious saliva. When Ajo offers to help her, Hikari takes his hand and, using her rees, expresses how she loves him. Ajo folds quicker than your fat mom when in front of food, but before he gets to respond, Karine pops up and starts arguing with Hikari for shooting her shot first. It makes Ajo realize that Karine also has feelings for him, and she reluctantly confesses that she does love him. With both of them rizzed up, they ask him to make a decision, but Ajo asks for time to think. That night, he confronts the god of love with what's happening, asking him how can a person love more than one soulmate, but the god of love reveals the truth, and that it's uncommon for anyone to have more than one soulmate, which surprises Ajo. He reveals that on the day of his creation, the god of love was too busy watching Mia Khalifa movies and accidentally wrote down 100 in his soulmate form after seeing how many shots Mia Khalifa took. However, he also informs Ajo that if soulmates don't become lovers with their other soulmates, they will get unsubscribed from life. Ajo starts thinking of ways to go around this situation. But when the time comes for him to answer the 2 women, he asks them both to be his baby mamas. Karine rejects his proposal, but Ajo expresses how he knows more than anyone how difficult it is to confess his feelings for someone, so he accepts both of them and that he loves them both very much. He promises to make them both happy, saying how he will split the pump time evenly.
Damn good deal.
And he hands the 2 of them with a 4-leaf clover each to show that he is serious. Karine initially refuses, but when Hikari accepts his love for her, Karine accepts his feelings as well, not wanting to miss out on Ajo's pipe, and it starts their 3-way relationship.
He did it. He did it.
The next morning, Ajo starts his morning by talking to a pole about how he has bagged 2 baddies to walk to school with. When the girls arrive, Hikari takes the shot to hold his hand, and while Ajo is tweaking, Hikari's soul almost goes to heaven because of this. When Ijo grabs Karine's hand, she gets flustered but tries to hide her facial reaction, and Ijo thinks to himself how he will use both hands to bust one out later. When they get to school, an old hag runs past them, chasing a student, and the girls inform him that she is the school vice president who is known to chase students, push her saggy melons on them, and gobble their tongue if she ever catches people running down the hall. Hikari asks Ijo if he ever kissed anyone, and when he says that he hasn't, both girls are determined to be Ijo's first lips gobbler. At lunch, the girls want to share their food with Ijo, and Hikari starts by sharing her omelette. But when Karine gets jealous, she shares her cookie, which ends up almost blinding him. Hikari refuses to lose, so she offers to mouth-feed him some Pocky. But when she's about to take her chance to kiss Ijo, Karine thinks fast and does the same, which ends up with her stabbing his eye with a Pocky. With both of his eyes red, Karine deems it a fever and wants to share his disease by gobbling his tongue. But Hikari smacks her with her melons to stop her and tries to take his temperature with her lips. With the girls fighting, Ijo realizes that they both want to kiss him, and while he wants to kiss them too, they both want to be his first. However, Ijo has a plan to make them both happy by making them kiss him without knowing who kissed him first. He explains his plan using some tools like blindfolds and dice, and to make it fair, they pinky promise not to cheat. However, when the plan starts, they first put on the blindfolds, but when Ijo goes towards the mystery girl, he accidentally touches some milky melons and knows directly that it's Hikari. She begs him to milk them, but he refuses out of guilt for Karine's flat cardboards. They start again, but when Ijo is approaching the girls, a cat sees Karine's kitty and smells seafood from it. It starts trying to fiddle with Karine's kitty, causing Karine to make happy noises, and she beats up Ijo, thinking he is playing with her kitty cat. The three of them keep trying this plan, but when it keeps failing, it raises their tension. Karine and Hikari start arguing against each other, calling each other $3 escorts, but Ijo has enough. He blames himself for not already having his first kiss, and he runs downstairs to get the vice president's attention so he can get his first kiss from her. The old hag pushes him down, ready to gobble both his tongue and willy, but Karine stops her and Hikari scares her off by making it seem that a school auditor is coming. The girls refuse to accept that some old prune gets his first kiss, and they both prefer if Ijo kisses the other person than someone he doesn't love. Ijo folds and hugs both girls out of happiness, which rizzes up both girls, turning on their fountain below. Later, the three of them start a new plan for them to kiss each other at the same time. They hold each other's hands and give each other a kiss at the same time, which is what you losers wish you could experience, ending their first kiss problem. The next day, they look for cookbooks in the library, but while they're there, Ijo meets another girl, and they make a connection, adding another soulmate to Ijo's collection of baddies. The girl, Shizuka, gets folded, and when she wants to say something, she talks through her books. Ijo thinks she's doing this because they're not allowed to speak in the library, and because she's a librarian. Shizuka asks Ijo what he's looking for, but when he answers in sign language to respect the no-speaking rule, Shizuka tells Ijo to just use his mouth and not act like a buffoon, which surprises him. Shizuka reveals that she struggles to speak with others, hence why she uses lines from her books to communicate. Ijo then explains how he's looking for some romance novel recommendations, and she happily helps him out by picking the books, but she gets too excited and grabs too much. Being appreciative, Ijo promises that he will read all of the books she recommended, but when he tries to borrow them, the main librarian rejects his librarian card, so it leaves him with nothing. Suddenly, Shizuka hands him the book she's holding, and while it's her favorite book, she wants Ijo to read it, and he happily accepts it. That night, Ijo reads the book he got from Shizuka, and it tells a story about a knight and the princess he's protecting. The knight always protects the princess, even from fire-breathing dragons, and after the battle, she heals the knight's wounds, but it heals something else. They become closer to each other, and when the princess is about to be another princess baby mama, the knight tries to defy fate and become the princess baby daddy. The volume ends there, and it gets Ijo thinking about his own fate and how he has to provide baby batter for multiple soulmates. The next day, Ijo returns the book to Shizuka, and when he notices that she's carrying the second volume, she lets him borrow it. To repay her kindness, Ijo buys her a drink and they talk about the book at the school park. He praises Shizuka for being able to memorize the book so she can use it to communicate, but Shizuka sadly rejects his praises. She expresses how she's a lonely loser whose only friend is the book she reads, and she thanks him for not avoiding him for it. Ijo gets an idea and borrows the first volume again, promising that he will return it. Later, Shuka is in the library when her fellow librarian notices how she looks happier and suspects that she's been getting clapped daily, but Shizuka assures her that she's not. When she's about to grab a book, it reminds her of how she first met Aijo, which gets her in a good mood. For days, Shizuka waits for Aijo to return the book so they can talk some more, but when he never visits her, she gets curious. Just then, she walks into Aijo with her baby mamas, Hikari and Karine, and when she sees them being lovey-dovey, she realizes how in truth, nobody, not even Aijo, is willing to talk to a freak like her. She recalls how her friends and even her mother beat her up for not talking using her mouth, and it gave her severe depression and anxiety. Afterward, Shizuka is in the library when Aijo pops up. He asks her to download an app from her phone, and when she does, he asks her to download a file he created. When Shizuka opens the file, it surprises her to see that her favorite novel is in the form of an ebook that hasn't been created, and the app has a text-to-speech feature. She realizes that Aijo typed down the novel manually, and he explains that with this app, people can talk to her face-to-face unlike before. Aijo expresses how he understands that it's difficult for Shizuka to speak normally, and she folds to see someone so kind to her. He encourages her to test it out, and the first thing Shizuka tells Aijo is how she loves him. She expresses how she knows that he already has a lover by his side, but Aijo pulls her in, and just like the knight from the book, Aijo defies fate and tells Shizuka that he loves her too. Later, he asks the two other lovers permission to add Shizuka to the harem of baby mamas, but while Karine refuses to accept this BS, Hikari folds after seeing how manly Aijo is to be able to spread love and baby batter with multiple women. Aijo promises that he will show how much he loves them or he will jump to meet Ace if he fails, and without much choice, the girls accept. Then, they all have lunch together and Aijo introduces them to each other. When Aijo points out the girls' cute habits like how Shizuka's toes move following what she's reading or how Hikari likes to nibble on her fingers like it's Aijo's glizzy, the girls get rizzed up, seeing how much Aijo pays attention to them. He then talks about the girls' habits during kissing. And when she hears about this, Shizuka shows her interest in kissing Aijo but is still too shy to play tongue twister. However, Aijo assures her that he will only gobble Shizuka's tongue with her consent, so he won't get arrested as the new P. Diddy. Then they start eating, and while Hikari and Karine are fighting over who gets to feed Aijo, Shizuka is off to the side, eating peacefully. As the two girls continue fighting, Aijo notices that Shizuka is still shy and reserved from the others. But he has a plan to change that. He presents the girls a card game and the winner gets to tickle the loser. But instead of feeling fear, all three girls want Aijo to tickle them. Round 1 goes to Aijo with Karine as the loser, and she gets happy about it, but when Aijo tickles her, Karine tries her best not to be seen as ticklish. However, when Aijo encourages her to react, Karine can't help but look like she's begging for his ding-dong. Round 2 goes to Aijo again with Hikari as the loser, and she presents her melons for him to tickle, but Karine prohibits her from going too far. When Aijo tickles her, Hikari squirms in pleasure and starts making beautiful happy noises, but before she floods her underground cave, she stops Aijo, not wanting to bust. Then round 3 goes to Aijo with Shizuka as the loser, but when Aijo enthusiastically tickles her, she laughs through her phone like she's Stephen Hawking. While Shizuka is getting tickled, the other two watch from the side, and they are now determined to tickle back Aijo. However, round 4 goes to Aijo as the loser with Shizuka winning the round, leaving the two girls depressed for losing their chance to tickle their man. Aijo presents himself for Shizuka to tickle, but when she goes for it, she starts poking instead and Aijo laughs at the different sensation he's feeling. But while she's watching this, Karine feels pissed. Then, Aijo excuses himself to the toilet, but when he leaves, Karine confronts Shizuka for holding back. She calls her out for not going all out, saying that as one of Aijo's lovers, she gets the same privilege as the others. However, Shizuka sees it differently and expresses how she feels that she, the new lover, cannot stand aside Karine and Hikari as their equals. Shizuka fears that both Hikari and Karine's different qualities will make Aijo compare all three of them, and that compared to Hikari's melons or Karine's endless neck, Shizuka has nothing. The girls assure Shizuka that she has her own qualities, starting with her tight rice cakes to her cute face, and the girls become friends, but Karine tells Shizuka that as Aijo's girlfriend, she gets to ask him to do things to her. Meanwhile, Aijo is inside watching them, feeling proud that they made up. When he was getting tickled by Shizuka, He saw Karine get pissed, but while he initially wanted to fix it, he realized that the best thing to do then was to let the girls solve their uses themselves, which now pays off. Then, Ajo rejoins the girls, and they tell Ajo that the punishment for the last round will be replayed. Shizuka realizes that the girls are trying to help her and to make their kindness count. She asks that instead of tickling, Ajo slithers his tongue in her mouth and they kiss. When Shizuka gets flustered, Ajo caresses her head, seeing how cute she is, and when he tries to pull back, Shizuka pulls him back in. Ajo takes this chance to kiss her, causing Shizuka to malfunction while the other girls watch, also wanting to kiss. Hikari approaches Ajo, also wanting a kiss, but she acts shy on purpose to raise him up, and it gets Gyotaro to give her the tongue twister. With two girls down, Ajo switches his attention to Karine and hugs her, whispering sweet words in her ears, but it folds her so hard that she starts punching him like prime Jake Paul. However, Ajo can read her act and asks her if she wants to kiss him. When Karine shyly says that she does, they kiss, making it three girls folded like lawn chairs. He looks at his three baby mamas and tells them how amazing it is that he gets to share one baby maker with all of them. Afterward, the school displays the students' rankings, and while the girls are looking at them, Ajo is looking for his phone. When he finds it in class, he meets Nano, who has no interest in her own grades, but when she looks at Ajo, they both make a connection, and he realizes that she's a soulmate. However, when he tries to raise her up, Nano shows no interest in him. Later, they look at the grades where Hikari ranks the 25th, Shizuka ranks the 44th, Karine ranks the 87th, and Ajo ranks the 88th. When Ajo looks at who ranked first, he sees Nano, who has all perfect scores. He asks the girls about Nano, and Karine informs him that Nano is a genius who only loves efficiency of everything else. During biology class, Ajo is paired up with Nano, and while he's following the lab procedure, Nano refuses to follow due to its inefficiency, deeming lab research a waste of time considering scientists has done their job for them. When he's cutting the onions for the observation, Ajo accidentally cuts his finger. But being efficient, Nano takes his finger and puts it in her mouth, giving it the same treatment as what your mom did to my sausage last night.
Emotional, damn it!
Afterward, Ajo tries to get to know Nano, offering her a drink as thanks for the wound healing tongue, but Nano tells him how getting to know her is meaningless. She expresses how having fun is inefficient and unproductive, deeming it a meaningless activity, but Ajo heavily disagrees. As Nano walks away from him, Ajo questions whether this witch is actually his soulmate. However, at home, Nano struggles to study as all she can think about is Ajo, questioning why she nibbled his finger. She tries to get her focus back by writing down the phi, but when she fails to focus, she realizes that she has caught feelings. The next day, she asks Ajo to date him, but when he agrees, she rejects him, which confuses him. She explains that she hoped for him to reject her, but because he has the same feelings, she has to be the one to end this relationship. However, Ajo refuses her action and asks her to go on a date with him just for a day, promising that if he fails to win her over, he will give up on her. Days later, Ajo arrives first at the amusement park for their date, and when Nano arrives in casual clothes, he folds seeing how cute she is. They first ride a merry-go-round, which Nano deems inefficient, and when Ajo pulls out a camera, she calls it a device for fools due to how inefficient it is. They continue their amusement park date by entering the haunted house, riding the spinning cups, and navigating through the giant maze, but during every single one of them, Nano acts like a boomer, commenting on how useless these fun activities are. However, when they ride the Ferris wheel, Ajo notices that Nano is trembling due to a fear of heights. Ajo sits next to her and holds her hand tight to calm her down, not wanting to let go. After the date is over, they look at the pictures Ajo took, and while Nano admits that she had fun, she still considers it to be inefficient and declares the day to be meaningless. After hearing that, Ajo understands and says to her that since it's meaningless, their precious memories mean nothing. He lights up a lighter to burn their pictures together, but with the date still lingering in her head, Nano stops him from burning their pictures. Ajo calls her out for it, saying that Nano gains something from the date, and it's something that cannot be defined by words or grades. Nano starts crying, accepting the feelings she has for Ajo. Then she tells him that she loves him and she wants to date him to gain this thing called love. Ajo accepts her proposal and forwards his hand for a handshake, but she pulls him in for a kiss, which leaves Ajo folded, and they go home together while holding hands. The next day, Ajo introduces Nano to the other girls as his new girlfriend, and unlike before, they are no longer surprised. However, they are more jealous about the fact that Nano gets to go on a date with Ijo, and when he promises them all a date in the future, Hikari takes this chance to suggest a swimming pool date, which they all agree on. Later, Karine is looking at swimsuits after Hikari's suggestion for a pool day, but while she wants to look cute for Ijo, she doesn't feel that her plots will look juicy enough for swimsuits. Days later, the girls present themselves like swimsuit models with all their plumps on display for Ijo and all of us thirsty viewers to see. However, when Karine presents herself, she covers herself wearing a cloak, stating that she feels cold there with her buns out, while the others try to care for her and even change their pool day schedule to another date. Karine assures all of them that she is fine and that they should have fun. They start by playing in Whirlpool, where Shizuka is unable to control herself and spins around like a beyblade. Hikari sees this as an opportunity to raise Ijo up by pushing her melons on him, causing him to fold. Nano refuses to lose, so she welcomes Ijo's hands to feel her melons, causing Hikari to do the same. The two girls compete on whose melons are milkier between the two, but when they ask for Ijo's opinion, he's dead in the water for losing too much blood due to the extreme plots. The girls panic and sideline him to give him a mouth-to-mouth, but when she does it, her lower cave starts flooding. Nano pushes her away and gives her own mouth-to-mouth. Meanwhile, Shizuka is on her own, getting carried by the Whirlpool's current, with no one to save her. When she tries to swim to the shore, her floaty hits something sharp, leaving her all alone, lost forever with no one there to save her. Back with Ijo, the girls fail to save him, so they look for a male lifeguard. On their way, they run into simps who are looking to clap, and when one of them tries to touch Hikari, Nano stops him before poking his eyes blind. It angers the rest of the creeps, and they threaten to beat up the girls for blinding one of their boys. Nano makes a decision and tells Hikari to find the lifeguard while she, Nano, will take on these three dudes, hoping not to get the Eiffel Tower. Hikari rejects her suggestion, but Nano tries to reason with Hikari, saying that as Ijo's newest girlfriend, she matters less. Hikari disagrees, stating that every one of his girlfriends matters to Ijo, and Hikari tells these creeps that they will never taste their cheeks. Just then, one of the guys attacks, but Ijo pops up from out of nowhere to save the girls. He offers his manly cheeks to these boys, but they have no interest in a sword fight. They tell Ijo to take his girlfriend and leave them with the other girl, but when Ijo reveals that they are both his girlfriends, they refuse to believe it. They order Ijo to kiss them both, believing that he won't do it. But without skipping a beat, both girls kiss Ijo, proving to these creeps that Ijo is indeed their big willy baby daddy, which scares them off. The shotties ask Ijo how he's awake, and he tells them about how Karine saw what's happening to them. When she mentioned it to Ijo's lifeless body, he got resurrected and headed directly to save the girls. Ijo praises Nano for blinding the guy's eyes and thanks her for protecting Hikari. But when he tells Nano that she should never risk herself like that, Nano gets flustered to his words. Just then, Karine asks them about Shizuka's whereabouts, and when Ijo realizes that she might still be twirling around the whirlpool, he runs away to find her. Meanwhile, Shizuka is trying to find help using her phone, but when her battery runs out, she realizes she's screwed. Just then, Ijo screams out her name to the whole water park, and Shizuka realizes that she can't use her phone. While she hesitates at first, she gathers all her might to use her own voice and calls for Ijo. He hears her call for help and finds her, saving her from doom. While carrying her in his arms, Shizuka gets rizzed up by how manly he is, so she gives him a deep kiss, causing them both to blush. When they return to the others, Ijo decides to take a break with Karine while the others continue playing. He confronts Karine about lying about being cold, stating that she is feeling insecure due to the size of her melons when compared to Hikari and Nano's bazookas. When Karine tries to retort, Ijo orders her to stand up, and he takes off her top, revealing her adorable swimsuit. She starts beating him up, calling him a degenerate for what he just did. But when Ijo expresses how amazing she looks, Karine folds. Suddenly, Ijo hugs Karine, telling her to feel his heartbeat, and when she realizes how fast his heart is going, she knows that he's telling the truth when he says that she looks amazing. After getting rizzed from head to toe, Karine can't help but kiss Ijo's lips, and they gobble each other's tongues. Then they return to the others, and with a full swimsuit on display, the girls praise Karine's melons, stating that medium is premium. They continue their date together, with all the girls taking turns with Ijo, getting wet in the water in more ways than one. The next day, the girls are rushing Ijo to go somewhere when they walk past a lab, and there, Ijo makes a connection with someone, a busty baddie wearing a lab coat, adding another soulmate to the collection. Later, he goes back there to find the thick shorty, but he doesn't find her, and he only sees a midget chemist being there. The chemist Kushiri offers him some tea in a lab beaker and enthusiastically asks him to wait for her while she cooks a brand new drug. When she finishes cooking, she presents Ajo with the human magnet medicine and explains that the drug causes all the iron and metal around him to get pulled to him like they're desperate single moms. While he hesitates, Kushiri forces him to chug it down, and just like what she said, metal items start sticking to him like he's a magnet. She suddenly explains that the polar opposite of the drink will pull the drinker to him, so Kushiri drinks it, gets pulled to him, and starts hugging him. However, she can't pull away due to the magnet being too powerful and she needs to take a leak. Ijo tries to get her off him, not wanting to experience a golden shower, but she assures him that it's fine since she's wearing a diaper, and she starts peeing while being attached to him. After the effect wears off, Kushiri shows Ajo more of her drugs while Ijo admires how cute she is. However, she knows that and reveals to him that the tea that he drank earlier has love potions inside it. Kushiri confesses to him that she loves him and that she wants to be his baby mama. She's confident that after giving him the love potion he will accept, but Ajo starts trying to puke out the love potion in the sink. Kushiri starts crying, thinking that Ajo hates the idea of loving her, but Ajo assures her that she's wrong and that he wants to love her fully as himself and not some drugged-up ape. Suddenly, Ajo starts tweaking on the floor. Kushiri pulls out the antidote and tries to give it to him, but because his movements make it difficult for her, she has no choice but to give him mouth-to-mouth. Later, with the love potion out of the system, Kushiri fully expects him to hate her. But to her surprise, Ajo still loves her. They both blush, and she begs him to date her, even begging on the floor. Suddenly, Kushiri's body starts transforming. Her hair grows and her melons become bigger, turning her into the busty baddie Ajo saw before, which surprises him. Kushiri explains that the antidote affected her, as well as her previous midget form, was caused by a drug that helped her become tiny with better eyesight, but with the effect gone, she turns to her real, normal, bad eyesight, thick mommy form. With a creamy plot in mind, Ajo accepts her feelings, and Kushiri hugs him out of happiness. The next day, Ajo explains the addition of Kushiri to his harem, and they all accept her, not being surprised by Ajo's actions anymore. Kushiri informs the others about her love for drugs and reveals that she has brought drugs for all of them. She starts with Karine, introducing her to drugs that would increase her melon size, which confuses Karine on how Kushiri knows that she's lacking in that department, and when Kushiri tells he that Ajo told her, Karine puts Ajo in the Boston Crab. However, when Kushiri tells Karine that Ajo actually sees her as slender and loves her flat melons, Karine hugs Ajo and apologizes profusely. Then Kushiri hands Hikari the hot stuff medicine, and Hikari thinks that this drug will make her grow her cheeks and melons out of proportion to make Ajo cream. However, when she drinks it, she starts sweating and her clothes start melting, and Kushiri explains that it's a drug that melts clothes to reveal the plots underneath. Ajo quickly gives Hikari his jacket to cover up with, but when she smells his sweat on it, she starts screaming and thanks Kushiri for the assist. Then, Kushiri gives Shizuka the Shizuka Bun Bun fantasy medicine, and when Shizuka drinks it, she grows furry ears. Ajo touches the very sensitive ears and caresses her like his pet, causing Shizuka to enjoy this tingly sensation. Then, Kushiri gives Nano the hair control drug, which turns her hair into extra arms for efficiency. Nano uses the hair and lifts Ajo to kiss him, but Kushiri warns her that she needs to take a new dose every 10 minutes, and that using too much will make her bald. Nano expresses how she doesn't mind going bald, and while Ajo tells her that he will love her bald or fat, he also tells her that he loves her hair, which makes Nano want to reject the drug. Afterward, they have a picnic and Kushiri talks about how she wishes to continue developing drugs as her dreams. Just then, Kushiri needs to pee, but before leaving, she informs the girls that the tea for Ajo and the girls are different, and when they ask why, she refuses to give the real answer. They argue about which tea is which, but they use logic and determine that the pink one is Ajo's considering how small it is in quantity. When Kushiri returns, she realizes that they poured the wrong tea for themselves, as the blue flask was meant for Ajo and it contains a drug that will make him want to kiss her. Ajo tells Kushiri that he doesn't need any drugs to kiss her, and Kushiri jumps to kiss him. However, Karine suddenly pulls Kushiri away and eats her. When Ajo looks around, he sees that the girls have turned into super zombies who are desperate to kiss Ajo. Kushiri informs him that they need the antidote in an hour, or they will stay Ajo-obsessed kissing monsters, which deep down, Ajo doesn't mind having. They escape the kiss-obsessing girls, and Kushiri tells Ajo that they need to get to the lab to make the antidote. On their way there, the girls intercept them and Kushiri looks for something to stop them and pulls out acid from her pocket to yeet at their faces, but Ajo rejects her crazy idea. Just then, the vice president pulls up, wanting to gobble their tongues, but Kushiri yeets the acid at her face, causing her to look like my ugly ex. As they continue to escape, the girls split up to trap them with only Shizuka on their tail, so Ajo and Kushiri also split up. Ajo feels confident that he can outrun Shizuka, but when she faceplants to the floor, he panics and carries her to the nurse's office. There he puts a band-aid on her, but he realizes his mistake when Shizuka kisses him and refuses to let go of her tongue. While he initially enjoys himself, he pulls himself together, and using a hanger, he hangs Shizuka like she's laundry. When Ajo continues his escape, Karine and Hikari find him on the run, and they work together to catapult Hikari's fat cheeks to hit him. While pinning him down, the two kiss him without stopping, but when they start fighting each other, Ajo realizes that deep down, they are still their usual selves. So he pushes the two of them to kiss each other, and to his surprise, they start twisting each other's tongues, providing us viewers with excellent gunning material. He then runs to the lab, and Nano is there, waiting for him. He quickly hides in the locker to avoid her, hoping that Kushiri is nearby to sneak inside the lab while Nano is distracted. But when he looks inside, Kushiri is also hiding in the locker with him. She starts crying, saying how it's her fault, just like how it's her fault that her fellow lab members left, leaving her all alone, and she promises to Ajo that she will stop cooking drugs. Just then, she pulls out 1 dose of antidote, and Ajo sees it as their chance to neutralize Nano, but Kushiri turns dumb and drinks it. He panically asks what she's doing, and she explains that by turning into her busty mummy form, Nano won't recognize her, giving her a chance to ambush and tie her up. However, when Kushiri commences her plan, she accidentally gives herself up, ending in herself getting tied up. Without any options, Ajo improvises and makes Nano chase him as a distraction. He locks himself in a room, but Nano rips the door open before crouching down and kissing him non-stop, all while the credit is rolling. Suddenly, Kushiri pops up to give her the antidote, which brings her to normal after Ajo buys her enough time to make it. Later, the girls are back to normal, and when they remember what happened, Hikari and Karine pretend not to remember having almost played rock, paper, scissors, but without the first two. Suddenly, Kushiri apologizes to them in tears, stating how it's her fault and that she will stop cooking drugs. However, Ajo uses his godly reason, assures Kushiri that he will be there to help fix all her issues, and tells her that one of the reasons he loves her is when he sees her do what she loves, which is being Walter White. All the girls fold to what Ajo says, and Kushiri hugs Ajo before finally kissing him. Days later, they go on a date at a flower park, and Ajo credits Hikari for bringing them there. Just then, a park speaker announces that a bouquet tossing event is about to start, and Hikari explains that it's an event where whoever catches the flower bouquet will wear a wedding dress and get their picture with their loved ones in front of the flowers. In her mind, Hikari has always dreamed of wearing a wedding dress, and just like her, all the girls are determined to get their pictures with Ajo. However, when they see that they're competing against a smelly, muscular group of bikers, led by an even smellier muscle mommy, they decide to work together. Before the battle starts, Ajo creates a banner for the team with "My Baby Mamas" written down on it, and it gives the girls extra motivation to win, all for his precious baby maker. With Shizuka on the side, waving the banner, the competition starts, and the biker gang competes roughly by yeeting their own members at the other competitors. Karine has enough, declares herself as a fellow member, and goes toe-to-toe with their muscle mommy leader. Suddenly, in the sky, Shizuka is floating with the banner as her parachute after she got carried by the wind, and when she gets close to the banner, she grabs it in her arm, but her action leads her falling to the ground. The team panics, not knowing what to do, but when the girls attempt to catch her, Shizuka bounces on their milk pillows, and Ajo catches her from landing on the floor. With the bouquet in hand, they win the competition, but it's time for them to decide who gets their picture taken with Ajo, and Hikari already has a plan. She presents them with a game of pulling a stick, but she already planted a special stick that guarantees her win. To avoid suspicion, she asks for Nano to take the first pick, but when she suggests that they all pull a stick together, Hikari realizes that her plan is flawed. However, she still ends up with the winning stick, and she celebrates like crazy. Suddenly, Kushiri cries for not winning, and when Hikari sees her tears, she realizes that it's best if the person who gets their picture taken is someone who will cherish her moment forever, which is not her. She offers the winning to Kushiri, but she rejects Hikari's offer as she also wants to see Hikari happy. Then, Hikari suggests that they all join in her picture, but unlike the others, only Hikari gets to wear the wedding dress, which is a dream come true for her. She thanks Aijo for fulfilling her dream and for everything he gave her, but she suddenly makes a request, which is for him to break up with her. Afterward, Hikari leaves right after the photo shoot, leaving the others not knowing what's happening, and when Aijo fails to call her, he uses the creamy pictures Hikari sent him to track down her address. When Aijo goes to Hikari's house, he is taken aback to see how rich she actually is, and when she spots him, Hikari orders him to hide from the security. Hikari calls him from an unknown number, and while Aijo expresses how he loves her, she tells Aijo that she hates his guts. However, Aijo asks her not to lie and speak the truth, and she informs him that her strict mother has found out and that she's planning to send Hikari to another school. Suddenly, Hikari's mother catches her on the phone, and the mother threatens Aijo to stay away, or she will feed his willy to the dogs. She threatens Hikari that if she doesn't stop meeting Aijo, she will send him to an Isekai, and Hikari begs her mother not to do it. Meanwhile, Aijo is feeling hopeless not having any leverage to do anything, but when he starts remembering his moments with Hikari, he realizes he needs to do what's necessary. Then he informs the others about the whole situation and tells them about his plan to break Hikari out so they can run away from the city. Aijo begs his harem to wait for them to return, but Karine strongly disagrees with his idea. She expresses her desire to help him, and the others follow suit, wanting to help him and get Hikari out. When they arrive at Hikari's mansion, Aijo throws a rubber ball to get Hikari's attention but misses, and they can't find the ball. Just then, they find it in the paws of the mansion's cat, and when they try to retrieve it, security shows up to check the noise, but they manage to hide from him, making him think that the cat is making the noise. With the house having a cat, Nano suspects that they have a pet door, but when they find it, they see that it's too small. However, Nano grabs some pebbles from the garden and uses them to open the lock like she's a master thief. However, Aijo sees the cut on her finger caused by the pebble flicking and patches her up, but Nano assures them that she's fine and that she's willing to do this to save Hikari. When they sneak inside the house, a guard dog pops up, so they quickly run back out, but when they look for Shizuka, she's still inside, frozen in fear of the dog. Aijo panics, but Nano calms him down and has a theory. As the dog approaches Shizuka, it doesn't attack her, and Nano explains that Shizuka's minus plot armor makes the dog want to protect her. Then Kushiri pulls out a drug and explains that it's to make the dog sleep. However, when she tosses it for Shizuka to use, she takes it literally and drinks it herself, causing her to sleep. However, the dog licks her once and falls asleep as well, giving an opening for the group. Then they face a corridor, and because of the cat, it triggers the laser alarm, but when the security checks it, they think it's the cat again, while the group manages to hide themselves. Helped by the plot armor gods, Kushiri pulls out an infrared drug from an envelope that turns the eyes to be able to see in infrared. Karine notices the envelope and realizes that the drug was meant to be sent to Kushiri's dream laboratory to work in located in England, but Kushiri tells them that she's willing to sacrifice her dream to save Hikari. After taking the drug, Aijo sees the laser above them using his infrared vision, but because the corridor is too high and wide like your mom's sloppy cave, they need two people to pass the lasers. With Karine being the strongest among them, she forms a human bridge with Aijo, and they climb to the corridor's chandelier. During it, Karine's shirt slips open, and while Aijo doesn't know what's happening, Karine can't help but make happy noises while Aijo's willy is near her face. After reaching the other side, Aijo orders the rest to go back outside, assuring them that they will get Hikari. Then, when they go to Hikari's room, they find her in tears over their pictures together with them, but the alarm gets triggered. The security surrounds them and brings them to face the mother, Hikari. Without much choice, Aijo tries to ask Hikari for her blessing, but she rejects this limp-willy loser to be with her daughter. Hikari tells him the story of how she got pregnant at a young age through artificial insemination from the person she loved who fell ill. When that person dies, she is left alone to raise her daughter, and she doesn't want Hikari to go through the same heartbreak that she faced. Suddenly, Aijo cries after hearing Hikari's sob story, and he can relate to not wanting Hikari to her herself. Just then, The tears turn Ajo's eyes back to normal, and when he makes eye contact with Hikari, they make a soulmate connection. For Hikari, it has been years since she experienced an alpha male's willy, and with Ajo in front of her, she begs him to clap her instead of her daughter. What? Karine doesn't understand what kind of BS is going on, seeing Ajo rizzing up this thirsty old hag. Hikari pulls her tough face back on, and Ajo tells her that he is still not giving up. But when Hikari doesn't believe him, she pulls up a lie detector chair and explains that the device is there to test if he actually loves Hikari with all his heart. Ajo questions the chair's honesty, so they put Karine to test it out to see if it works properly. Hikari starts by asking Karine about her cup size, which pisses her off, but when she states that she has puddings, the chair deems it a lie, forcing Karine to answer that she has cardboards as melons before the chair acknowledges what she says as the truth. Then, Hikari asks Karine if she loves Ajo, and while she says yes, the machine declares it as a lie, causing Ajo to lose 8 piss every time the chair states that Karine doesn't love him. However, it takes Karine to spill out her heart fully to Ajo for the chair to acknowledge her truth, and it resurrects Ajo from almost meeting Aaron. Then it's Ajo's turn, and he declares how he loves Karine, which the chair deems as the truth. Hikari then asks him about Hikari, and with every bit of his soul, he declares how he truthfully loves Hikari, which the chair deems as the full truth. Suddenly, a maid comes in panicking, reporting that Hikari is about to jump from the window. Karine quickly takes Hikari as hostage, stating that she will clap her neck. Karine tells Ajo to save Hikari, stating that if he runs away with her, she and the others will be okay and will wait for them, no matter how long. When Ajo leaves, Hikari gets angry, saying how she will show Karine what a mother's love is like. However, Karine laughs at her statement after she sees how Hikari ignored her own daughter's feelings and made her cry. Meanwhile, Hikari is at the window with security surrounding her, ready to jump when Ajo shows up. Hikari tells him that her mother will forever hunt their life, hence why she wants to backflip so she can meet Ace. However, Ajo tells her that a life without her is a life not worth living, and he starts crying, saying how he loves her and wants her to be with him forever. Hikari calms down and agrees to be his forever, but when she looks down, her adrenaline wears off and she realizes how scared she actually is. Suddenly, she slips, and while Hikari and Karine arrive to see what's happening, Ajo lunges at Hikari, maneuvers mid-fall, and lands on the pool to save them both from going to an Isekai. The others quickly save them, and after getting out of the water, Ajo embraces Hikari. Just then, Karine slaps Hikari, calling her an idiot, and they cry together. Hikari asks Ajo why he jumped with Hikari, knowing he could die, and he rizzes her up, saying that he's willing to die for his baby mamas. The mom bows down, asking Ajo to take care of her daughter, but Ajo takes it a step further and tells both Hikari and her mother that he will love them both for a mother-daughter double pumper. Later, the girls take a hot bath together, but because the girls start playing with each other melons, Karine gets insecure and leaves early. She meets Ajo in the bedroom, and when he gets flustered seeing her exposed tummy, she realizes that he felt her tummy when they bypassed the lasers. She gets on top of him, and as payback, she rubs herself on his tummy, but for Ajo, he sees this as an absolute win. Suddenly, Kushiri walks in, and they both quickly pretend that they're working out. Then, Hikari takes the girls to her pajama collection, as she's a person who loves cute things, and when the girls showcase their pajama cuteness, Ajo and Hikari start tweaking. The mom can't take the cute rees and Ajo accompanies her to get water, but on their way there, Hikari can't take it anymore and begs Ajo to come to her room, so he can take care of her cougar kitty. They go at it, humping and pumping each other while the girls are playing cards. However, when they hear Hikari's loud happy noises, they quickly try to stop them, but to their surprise, it turns out Hikari is cross-dressing Ajo for her own fun, and the girls approve of it. Being embarrassed, Ajo collapses, and while everyone panics, Hikari has a plan involving Nano. Moments later, Hikari brings in Nano, who now looks like a prince, which the girls want to clap, and to help Ajo, she gives him a kiss which resurrects him. Ajo refuses to continue this BS, so he goes and takes a bath. However, both Hikari and her mom have a plan to peek at him, and when the others hear of their plan to see Ajo's fat stick, they all join the plan, apart from Shizuka, who's looking to protect Ajo's purity. So they roll her and make her into a sushi to stop her from interfering. Meanwhile, Ajo is peacefully bathing when Kushiri tries to peek in from the window, but when he spots her, he thinks that she's a ghost and starts tweaking out of fear. However, when he looks back, Kushiri is gone, But when he looks away, an actual ghost pops up, stalking him. Meanwhile, Shizuka, still being a sushi roll, imagines where Aijo and the others are punished for peeking and being a creep, which results in Shizuka losing everyone. She refuses to get that future, and when she can't get out of the sushi roll, she embraces the sushi and starts rolling to stop it. Back with the girls, they enter the attic to peek at Aijo from above. But while they're in there, the cat crawls past them, which scares them off as they all think it's a rat. While they're screaming and panicking, Aijo gets scared below them, thinking they're ghosts clapping each other. At the stairs, Shizuka is ready to crawl down to save the day when the dog scares her, causing her to fall and spin her way into the bathroom. Aijo gets scared seeing her, thinking she's a ghost, but when he realizes it's Shizuka, his towel drops, traumatizing Shizuka with the sight of his massive ding-a-ling. When Aijo carries her out, he runs into the others, and while they try to lie, Karine accidentally reveals that they are about to peek at his ding-dong, which gets them scolded by Aijo. Afterward, while playing cards, Hikari remembers something and leaves. When Aijo looks for her, he finds her praying for Hikari's clap daddy. He joins her in the prayer and asks why she chose to remain single. Hikari expresses how guilty she feels about falling in love with another man when her previous man is now chilling with Ace. But Aijo embraces her and assures her that there is enough space for two people in her heart. She embraces him, telling him that she loves him, but she wants more and asks him to kiss her, after how her first love never got to kiss her. When she doubts herself, Aijo pulls her for a kiss, which makes her cry tears of joy. That night, while everyone is asleep, Hikari moves next to Aijo, but Karine is awake, ready to stop them from clapping. However, it turns out that Hikari just wants to sleep beside him after almost losing him. And when they kiss, Karine lets her continue. Later that night, Aijo wakes up to the two girls kissing each other, so he decides to walk around the house, and he walks into the ghost of Hikari's father. He tries to scare off Aijo for taking his girls from him, but Aijo is not scared at all and only sees the father as someone precious to Hikari and her mother. The father turns nice with his worries gone, and when he gives Aijo his blessings, they promise to watch over the two girls together. However, he starts shining bright as with his regrets gone. He's being called to an Isekai, and despite Aijo begging him to stay, the father goes away. Aijo wakes up in the morning like it's a dream, but he knows that what he saw was true. Then the group leaves the house to go to school, but when they get to school, Hikari is already there as the new headmaster after she bought the whole school, just to be closer to Aijo. Meanwhile, Aijo is at the mansion, wanting to meet Hikari, but when he gets info that Hikari is at school, he starts running there to all his baby mamas. It's been 3 months since Aijo started dating Hikari and Karine, and since then, Hikari informs his other girlfriends how she's worried that their honeymoon phase could be over and will slowly turn into a boring relationship. To prevent that from happening, Hikari has asked Kushiri to make a special potion that will reborn them from drying out. But when Kushiri activates the potion, she realizes she messed up and it explodes everywhere. When Aijo gets to them, he asks what happened, and to his surprise, due to Kushiri's potion, the girls have switched bodies. It causes the whole animation to receive a boost, and with sudden meteors flying through, they realize it's exactly like your name. While the girls are panicking, Aijo tells them that they need to find out who's who. Hikari, who's in Nano's body, tries to take advantage by using Nano's body to get clapped, but from her demeanor alone, Aijo knows quickly that it's Hikari. Kushiri tries to play it off in Hikari's body, but from her personality and her small bladder, Aijo knows it's Kushiri. When Aijo looks at Kushiri's body, he realizes it's Hikari from how she acts like the local hot moms in your area. However, when he looks at Hikari's body, he sees her playing with her plots and realizes that Karine, who usually has cardboard for her torso. He goes to look at Karine's body, and when she simply stands still with a pure smile, he realizes that it's Shizuka by how she's not talking and needs her phone, which Nano, in Shizuka's body, gives to her. They think of what they can do to reverse the potion, and Hikari, who's in Kushiri's body, suggests that they kiss Aijo like a prince who can reverse spells. She goes at him first, rizzing him up with her mature aura inside her cute body, which almost makes Aijo blow his cap off, and when she kisses him, it causes her soul to leave her body. They realize that kissing works, and for the sake of efficiency, Nano, in Shizuka's body, activating her inner fountain, and when she kisses Aijo, her soul flies away while Aijo almost runs out of gas. In Karine's body, Shizuka shyly asks for a kiss, almost causing Ijo to die due to how cute she is. But he holds himself back and kisses her, making her soul fly away. Meanwhile, Karine, who's in Hikari's juicy body, plays hard to get. But when Ijo uses his mommy-loving Reese, Karine folds and kisses him, which causes her soul to fly away. It leaves only Ijo and Hikari in Nano's body, and she hugs him from the back, wanting to play with his joystick, while the others are AFK, but they settle for a kiss which gets Hikari's soul to join the others. Moments later, all of the souls that were flying enter back into their bodies. While it wasn't planned, Hikari feels happy that they all traded bodies, which resulted in them getting a kiss. But when Ijo expresses how he prefers them in their usual bodies, they all fold tremendously and beg him for more kisses. The next day, Ijo is buying himself some food, and when he's reaching for an egg sandwich, he touches someone's hand. But when she looks at her, he realizes that his soul is intertwined with hers, making her his soulmate. He tries to be friendly with her, but she tells him to choke on one of Sukuna's fingers. However, when she tries to buy herself food, she realizes that she forgot her wallet, so she walks away silently. With her stomach growling, she sits on a bench alone, and when Ijo tries to share his food with her, she gets hostile, suspecting that he's a creep. But when her stomach growls again, she gets embarrassed and has no choice but to accept his offer. She takes off her hoodie and headset before praying for the food, which surprises Ijo to see that she has manners. When she takes the first bite, she creams to how tasty it is and starts eating it happily. Ijo asks if she really enjoys it, and she craves eating eggs on toast after she hears her classmates talk about seeing it from a TV show. The girl explains that she burns calories really fast, so she gets hungry and cranky easily, which would be even worse if she craves something. She adds that her cravings are so bad that she needs her hoodie and headset to stop her senses from craving something. When she finishes the food, Ijo tries to get her name, and to his surprise, she calls him a creep before walking away, but as she's walking away, she gets frustrated with herself with how fast her heart is beating. The next day, the girl aggressively power walks through students to get herself a katsu sandwich she saw on the TV the other day, but once she gets to the cafeteria, it's all out of stock, which frustrates her. Just then, Ijo pops up, and when he realizes her issue, he suggests that she has other sandwiches, but the girl furiously tells him that they're not the same. She tries walking away to the convenience store, and when Ijo tries to help her, she angrily brushes him off, telling him to leave her alone, but when she sees how shocked he looks, she runs away. Then, after failing to get the sandwich, she walks back starving and angry with herself, asking herself why she's such a cranky girl who pushes people away, even Ijo, who treated her nicely. When she gets back to school, Ijo is there to greet her, and he takes her to the cooking class. To her surprise, she is greeted with a katsu sandwich, and when she takes a bite, she busts a fat one with how tasty it is. She asks him how he got it. And when Ijo reveals that he cooked it himself, she sees the wounds on his hands and asks why he's so nice to her. Ijo pulls up his big boy pants and rizzes her up, saying how he finds it charming when she enjoys her food so much, and that there is no better way to enjoy food than to share it with someone. It folds her completely, making her fall for him, and she asks him to keep eating with her as her boyfriend. He gladly accepts her offer, and she introduces herself as Kurumi. Then, Ijo introduces Kurumi to the rest of his lovers as his newest lover who eats more than Luffy recap watchers, and without skipping a beat, Kurumi declares war on the rest of them, saying that she only wants to get close to Ijo. Nano agrees with her statement, saying that the girlfriends don't need to act civil toward each other, but while the girls are hurt by what she says, she also tells them that she hangs out with them because she loves them. They all hug her, and Ijo takes this chance to inform them of a food fight festival, where the winner gets a special gelato. He suggests that they form a team, but while Kurumi wants gelato, she refuses to make a team. However, when they point out that it's a team game, she has no choice but to agree, and they make plans to go there together. The next day, they get to the food festival together, where the host greets the competitors with her milky plots to remind you degenerates that the animation is way better than Blue Lock. Ijo believes that bringing Kurumi there with the others can help her deal with people, and he intends to make it his goal to achieve it. Then the host announces that the qualifying round will be eating rice, but while they provide them with side dishes, only by eating rice will they get points to qualify. Kurumi declares that she will compete in every round, stating that she can do this solo, and when Karine is about to scold her, Ijo gets between them and realizes that he needs to take it slow in helping Kurumi get closer to the others. Then, the round starts, And when Eijo sees that Kurumi is salivating for pork cutlets, to everyone's surprise, he gets her some which won't get her any points. It confuses the other contestants of why Kurumi is eating sides, and Karine expresses how it's a bad idea, but when she looks at Kurumi, who's extremely enjoying her food, it makes her want to eat as well. Eijo reveals that is the plan all along, where making Kurumi eat the sides will also make the other contestants want to eat sides. But unlike them, Kurumi is able to eat more due to her metabolism. Meanwhile, Eijo is eating purely rice only, and while the girls are worried about him eating too much, he rizzes them up, saying how eating the rice the girls picked up for him will only make it more appetizing. With both Eijo and Kurumi eating like monsters, the other contestants can't compete, and when the time is up, they qualify while the others don't. Then, the host announces the standings, where Eijo and his harem are in third, while Team Gorilla is second, and a food-fighting Yokozuna is first, even as a solo competitor. After qualifying, the host announces the next round, which is to drink bubble tea, and while Eijo cannot do it, Kurumi declares herself ready for it, as she believes that she can win the whole thing herself and that none of the girls are capable of helping her. When the round starts, Kurumi and the others start strongly, but after multiple glasses of bubble tea, they struggle due to how chewy it is to drink. However, when they look at Shizuka, they see her chewing it just fine without struggling, and while they wonder how she's doing it, Eijo realizes that she has small cheeks. It takes her more time to chew the same amount of food than others, but they all realize that in their entire life, she has been doing that which trained her jaw to chew bubble tea for a long time, making her the perfect competitor, like a squirrel who chews their nuts. It results in their time coming in second. And in the next round they have sushi, and while Kurumi competes again, Nano joins her. Unlike the others, Nani manages to keep up as she doesn't chew the sushi to get it down efficiently. But when she gets to the last sushi, she struggles to finish it due to eating too much. It leads her with no choice but to force it down, and Nano does it by climbing somewhere high to scare herself due to her fear of heights. She successfully eats it, and when she can't get down, Eijo carries her down as she gives their team points. The battle continues with Karine and Kushiri winning the spicy food battle and the mother and daughter duo winning the cake-eating battle. Eijo rubs and compliments his lovers for their great efforts, and when Team Gorilla asks them how they managed to compete, Eijo tells them it's a power of love. Then in the last round, it leaves Kurumi as the only competitor from her team, while Eijo and the rest are a step away from death. She competes against the Yokozuna and the Team Gorilla, and in the middle of it, the Team Gorilla's members show their leader support by helping her eat. But while they're motivated to win, it ends with them in the back of an ambulance. It turns into a battle between Kurumi and the Yokozuna, but unbeknownst to everyone, the Yokozuna is cheating as inside. He's actually a scrawny loser who uses a tank to contain all the food. As the competition grows, Kurumi starts struggling to eat while the Yokozuna breezes through it easily by cheating. But it makes Kurumi realize how she messed up by not trusting the others in the earlier rounds so she can compete in the last one. While she's crying in regret, the others pop up to help her win, and when she asks why, they tell them that they see her as a friend after everything they have gone through in the competition, which shows how powerful their power of love is. It gives Kurumi the motivation to keep going, and in her last efforts, the Yokozuna struggles as his tank starts to get full, which forces him to eat the food for real. After tens of bowls, it leaves only the Yokozuna and Kurumi against each other. But before they get to the last boat, Eijo whispers in Kurumi's ear, asking her to feed it to him. She initially refuses, but when she does what he asks, Eijo manages to eat it, giving their team the win. Afterward, the team celebrates by eating their long-awaited gelato, and when Kurumi apologizes to the others for being rude to them, they all share their gelato with her, showing that they have forgiven her. Later, Kurumi thanks Eijo for helping her get closer to the others, but she takes her chance to taste what she wants to taste the most, which is Eijo, and she does it by kissing him. In the past, Hikari was someone that Hikari saw as someone elegant, but in the present time, she is far from it. Hikari brings some baby clothes for them and informs them that Kushiri has made them a potion that turns them back into babies, but she also has the antidote for it. Hikari begs them to try it so she can play mommy to them, but that angers Hikari, and she tells her how it's embarrassing as a daughter to see her mother like this. Hikari apologizes to Hikari and assures her that she will be her mother first and foremost. Wanting to lighten the mood, Kushiri sees a cat and stupidly yeets one of the potions for the cat to catch it, but it ends up breaking and exploring everywhere. When the dust settles, apart from Eijo and Hikari, every one of the girls has turned into a baby. When they look at them, they see how cute they really are and how much it makes them look like parents. However, things take a turn when Shizuka gets scared seeing Eijo and wants to run away, while Kurumi gets hungry and wants to drink milk from Hikari's melons. It gets worse when Nano tries to escape and pokes Eijo's eyes, while Kushiri tries to play with her potion. Meanwhile, Karine joins Kurumi in drinking milk, but it causes them to fight each other over who gets more milk. However, when Hikari tries to scold them, they start crying loudly, and despite Hikari's attempt to calm them down, they continue crying. Just then, Hikari climbs her from the back and starts pulling her hair, but to her surprise, she pats Hikari's head to calm her down. It causes Hikari to lose focus and drop the babies, but before Karine and Kurumi fall on their heads, Eijo catches them both while sliding his face on the floor. When he looks up, both babies laugh at him, followed by the other babies who find it amusing. It gives Eijo an idea, and he continues sliding his face on the floor for the next hour. Then, due to laughing too much, the babies are asleep while Eijo is dripping in ketchup. It makes Hikari realize just how difficult it is to raise a child, but while she believes that she is a burden to her mother, Eijo informs her that Hikari once told him that she saw Hikari as the light of her life. At that moment, Hikari recalls how every time she interacted with her mother, Hikari always treated her with love. When they all return to normal, Hikari apologizes to her mother for what she said before, and remembering how Hikari always acted cold in the past, she supports her mother in her brighter phase in life where she's in love with Eijo. Hikari feels touched by what her daughter says and she comforts her. The next day, the group is enjoying their picnic when they start noticing how pretty everyone's eyes are. Hikari tells them that her personal maid, Mado, also has the most beautiful pair of eyes. Shizuka asks Hikari what color are they, and to their surprise, Hikari tells them it's a rainbow. It makes them all curious to see. But as a maid, Mado explains that she has to always smile with her eyes closed as part of her etiquette. However, when she tries to open her eyelids, she can't do it due to her facial muscles being so used in that position. Even when using her hands, she can't open her own eyelids, which worries the others. Suddenly, Shizuka gets an idea, and she tries to scare off Mado as a tactic. But while her cute and pathetic attempt is useless, it gives the others ideas. Nano approaches Mado with a cutter, wanting to stab her. But when she does it, Mado still doesn't open her eyes. Nano reveals that she retracted the cutter before stabbing her. But it traumatizes everyone so much that Shizuka starts crying. Nano feels bad about what she did, but Eijo hugs them both, saying that they're not at fault. Kurumi tries her own method by giving Mado delicious food, but when her eyes don't pop out after eating it, she realizes that she's the only fat pig around who screams after eating something. Hikari asks her directly what makes her so happy that her eyes will open wide, and when she reveals that she feels happy when Hikari is happy, it gives Hikari an idea. She pushes Karine towards Hikari, saying how Karine should get cozy with Hikari, and while she's reluctant at first, Karine folds after she smells how similar Hikari is to her daughter. Before they kiss each other, Hikari yeets Karine away, leaving Hikari frustrated for failing to kiss Karine. But Shizuka and Kushiri quickly cuddle her, which makes Hikari happy. Even with Hikari happy, Mado still doesn't open her eyes wide enough for the others to see, but Eijo feels that he needs to do something about it. He suggests that they make her laugh so hard that she opens her eyes, so he tells her a joke. Eijo informs Mado of what happened the day before when he was talking with Kushiri about a potion that would make Diddy stray away from them. And while Mado does find his story funny, Eijo adds the punchline. He reveals that it was actually Hikari who wanted to get the Diddy repellent potion, and it causes Mado to laugh so hard that her rainbow eyes can be seen. But at that moment, her soul intertwines with Eijo's, and he realizes that she is another one of his soulmates. Hikari realizes that Mado has fallen in love with Eijo, and instead of being against it, everyone supports her joining their harem. While Mado tries to deny her feelings, Hikari pushes her to embrace them, and Mado follows her order and asks Eijo to date her, which Eijo has to accept. The next morning, after Hikari's encouragement, Mado picks up Eijo at his house to go on a date. Eijo starts by asking what Mado loves so they can go on a date there, and when she tells him that she loves Hikari, she drives to her house. Eijo quickly stops her and asks what other things she loves, and when she tells him that she loves him, she almost drives back to his house, but he tells her to stop and takes her to the park instead. Eijo tries to ask her what she likes to eat, but she persistently turns it into her wanting to serve him instead. Ijo gets an idea and tells her to cook something in under a minute, thinking that she won't succeed, but to his surprise, Mito pulls out a packed lunch that she admits she made for him before going on the date, which folds Ijo completely. He eats it happily, and after he finishes, Mito asks him for a favor, and that is for him to give her orders so she can serve him, while any degenerates like you viewers would ask her to gag on something. Ijo, on the other hand, acts like a Chad and simply asks her to hand him a sakura branch. When she hands it to him, Ijo realizes she's like a dog playing fetch, so to turn it around, he asks her to throw the stick. He hands it back to her, wanting her not to be like a dog, but she expresses how she's unhappy with not being able to serve. He asks her why she wants to serve, and Mito tells him that his life is not worth anything and that her life purpose is only to serve her masters. After hearing that, Ijo agrees to give her an order, and while she's initially excited, to her shock, Ijo tells her that she has to be useless to him. Then, they continue their date. But everything that Mito does, from sitting adorably to standing up, is deemed useful to Ijo, so she decides to drive back home, which confuses Hikari and Hikari. Just then, Ijo calls Hikari and asks to talk to Mito, and when Mito picks up the phone, Ijo tells her that he can still imagine what she's doing, which makes her useful. After going back to the date, Ijo scolds her for not following his order and still being useful. Mito realizes that the only way to fulfill his order is by ending her life, and Ijo tells her that she's correct and that she's serving him just by existing. Ijo expresses to Mito that just by being herself, she is worthy, and it makes Mito remember how Hikari once saved her from death. But while she thought that her life was worthless, Hikari assures her that one day she would see how precious her life is. Ijo tells her that for someone who loves her, it's enough for her to be herself, and when he asks her to be his lover, she happily accepts his order to be his lover. Later, Ijo announces to the others the newest member in his harem of lovers, and Hikari celebrates it by making the girls wear maid outfits. But while Karine initially refuses to wear them, she folds after Ijo tells her how he wants to see her in a maid costume. After they wear the outfits, Mito talks about how maids cannot get themselves dirty at all costs, but that gives Hikari an idea. She suggests a water gun shootout with the last one dry being the winner, and when she adds that the winner gets a kiss from Ijo, they all agree to it. Then, Ijo puts on his butler costume, which makes their kitties purr, and he officiates the match. When it starts, Karine goes on the offense at Kurumi, but while she manages to dodge Kurumi's shots due to her lack of melons, she gets blindsided and shot by Kushiri. Suddenly, Nano shoots her from the back, and with two girls eliminated, Hikari takes a picture of them wet and posing. Kurumi tries to shoot Hikari from the back, but she throws food at Kurumi, and when she takes the bait, Hikari shoots her. Just then, Nano tries to take advantage, but she is faced with Mito, creating a battle between two monsters. However, Nano deems the battle inefficient, so she changes her focus to Shizuka, but to everyone's surprise, Shizuka manages to shoot randomly and hits both Nano from above and herself, eliminating both of them. It leaves Mito against Hikari, who's using her own mother as a human shield against Mito, who's loyal to her master. Hikari orders Mito to eliminate herself for Hikari's sake, but before she gets to do it, to everyone's surprise, Hikari eliminates herself first, giving an opening for Mito to show Hikari and win the battle. However, Mito quickly attends to Hikari, and it causes her to also get herself wet, leaving the competition without a winner. But Ijo declares that everyone is the winner after the battle they endured. Then, with the victory in hand, Mito kisses Ijo, and after everyone gets their turn, it leaves Ijo wet and looks like a guy that your mom would call daddy at night. After the food festival, all the girls gain weight at the same time, and they decide to go home without Ijo to undergo their secret girlfriend training. Meanwhile, Ijo is heading home when he walks past a girl from the baseball team who's trying to recruit members. But when she locks eyes with Ijo, their souls intertwine. She starts fidgeting and introduces herself as Eku, a member of the girls' baseball team. She tells Ijo how she's the only member of her team after her whole squad went aboard to study baseball, but she now needs 8 other members to compete by the end of that week, or her whole club will be deleted. IQ talks about how, just like her training, she's persistent in recruiting new members. Suddenly, while swinging her bat, she falls over due to the pain and exhaustion. But to Ijo's surprise, she enjoys the pain like a certain crusader from another world. He offers to help her, and while she wants him to shove his bat somewhere, they opt to train instead. He keeps hitting the ball while IQ catches them, but with each slide she feels more pain that brings her pleasure. After training, Aiku gets on her knees and massages Aijo, thanking him for helping her train, and Aijo tells her that he's willing to help her again. The next day, Aiku enthusiastically walks around after realizing she has fallen in love, but to her shock, she spots Aijo walking past while holding hands with Nano. After school, when Aijo shows up for their training, Nano confesses her feelings for him and asks him to date her, but Aijo rejects her, stating that he already has 8 girlfriends. Instead of feeling sad, Aiku feels pleasure after getting rejected and starts tweaking. Just then, Aijo starts spilling ketchup, and when Aiku asks him what's going on, he reveals that he saw her tweaking when he was with Nano and reacted even worse when she thought Nano was kissing him. Aijo reveals that he pretended to reject her after seeing how much she enjoyed getting her heart broken and asks her to date him for real. Aiku asks him about his 8 girlfriends, and Aijo assures her that he will make her and all of her girlfriends happy, and after hearing that, she agrees to date him. The next day, he introduces Aiku to the others as a new lover, and Aiku asks them to smack her, saying how she feels inferior compared to them, which makes the others realize how precious she is. Then, Aijo asks his girls if they want to play baseball and explains Aiku's situation with her club being at risk. Karine suggests that Hikari just uses her power as chairman to overturn it, but Hikari informs them that she refuses to abuse her power and give out special treatments. Just then, Hikari is curious about something, so she asks Aijo if he will be there for their baseball game, and when Aijo tells her that he will, it gives all the girls the motivation they need to join the team so they can lose weight by playing baseball. Then they start their practice, and starting from pitching, they all suck at it due to their own nature, and during their swinging practice they're even worse, but Aijo supports them either way. When it's time to go home, Aiku tells him that she's going to practice a bit more, and while Aijo wants to stay with her, Aiku tells him to walk the others home and leave her be. However, when the next day arrives, they find her still practicing in the morning like a lunatic, and when confronted, he thinks it was still the day before. At that moment, she starts being dizzy and collapses. They bring him to the nurse's office, and because of class, they all leave her there. However, when she wakes up, Hikari is hiding under the bed like a creepy, and she overhears her conversation with Aijo. While he's trying to stop her from going overboard, Aiku wants to win the match and reward herself and the others for their hard work, hence why she refuses to stop, but Aijo realizes that he has to forcefully stop her. Later in training, Aijo is about to commence a plan to stop her when the other girls confront Aiku and inform her that they know the reason why she's pushing herself that hard. They declare that they will help her win, and while Aijo is crying due to what he's witnessing, they all combine their hands together and enthusiastically stay for practice together. The next day, they arrive to face a team of girl dinosaurs, and when Aiku takes the pitch, they recognize her and realize that while she's their ace, she has issues during every baseball game. Aiku manages to get 3 strikes to hold the opponents to 0 points, but when it's their turn for offense, Karine steps up. The steroid-using pitcher throws her a fastball called Tyranno Cannon, and while Karine manages to hit the ball, it blitzes her bat away. Their lizard leader starts yapping about how it's an unstoppable ball and presents themselves as the Dano Duo. After rounds of 0 points from both teams, Aiku steps up, but when she hears the players getting cheered, she loses focus completely and doesn't swing. She then gets a second strike, and their Dino leader realizes that Aiku is still facing the same issues from the past, so she signals to her pitcher for a full power throw, which causes Aiku's bat to bend and her hand injured. With Aiku unable to pitch, Aijo's team is without their ace, and they are falling behind in points against Team Jurassic. However, their leader still wants more damage, and when she spots Shizuka, she targets her specifically. In the next round, she approaches Shizuka and whispers to her ears, saying how she's pulling her team down by messing up the most. It affects her mentally heavily that she starts messing up fatally, causing Team Jurassic to gain 3 more points. In the huddle, they calm Shizuka down, and Kushiri tells the others how their leader was trash-talking Shizuka before, and it makes Aijo and the girls fall silent. In the next round, Karine steps up to bat, and when the lizard leader tries to trash-talk her by bringing up Shizuka, Karine gets so angry that she manages to overpower the ball and hits it like a Super Saiyan to get a home run. It starts a comeback for Aijo's team as every single one of them is furious after what happened to Shizuka, and they rack up points. It shocks the lizard leader, and when she looks at her opponents, she sees Aijo and her Super Saiyan girlfriends. With their comeback almost complete, they are 3 points behind, and Kushiri takes steps up. When the opponents pitch the ball, Kushiri bunts the ball to the ground and runs towards the first base, but just as she's about to get struck out, she turns back into her chibi form and reaches first base. Then, Hikari takes the plate and Hikari motivates her by saying that Karine will kiss her if she hits the ball. When the pitcher throws the ball, Hikari bunts it and starts running. But she falls over with her hands away from the base. However, when the dust settles, they all see that her melons are at the base, making her safe. Then Shizuka steps up to the plate, and the lizard leader feels relieved like they have already won. But to their surprise, with Oijo's voice of encouragement in her head, Shizuka holds the bat like she's hugging it and manages to hit the ball. She starts running towards the first base, but because she looks too cute while in tears, the fielder sees her dead pet in her and lets her through, giving Shizuka the first base. The lizard leader realizes that if Oijo's team gets a home run, then Team Jurassic will lose, and when she sees the next batter, it's Aiku after she recovered her hand. Before Aiku steps up, Oijo stops her, asking her what's in her head. Aiku reveals that in the past, she managed to hit a home run that hit someone in the head, and it traumatized Aiku when she saw that person bullet out. However, Aiku assures them that she will hit the ball, but when she steps up to the plate, she still gets haunted by her past and gets 2 fouls. With her last chance, she tries to calm herself down, but to her surprise, Oijo is all the way in the home run zone, telling her to hit it as hard as possible, promising that he will catch it. The pitcher throws his full power throw, and when it reaches Aiku's bat, it obliterates her clothes like it's food from Food Wars. But with full power, Aiku sends it high toward Oijo. He catches the meteor-like ball with everything he has, wanting Aiku to defeat her fears, and he loses all his clothes in the process due to how powerful it is. With the home run, it gives Oijo's team the narrow victory, and Aiku celebrates by running at Oijo, and even with their clothes torn off, she kisses him and tells him that she loves him. After the game, both teams make peace and they celebrate their great game by eating barbecue together. Days later, on their day off, Oijo takes them to a karaoke, and every single one of his girls performs brilliantly, which he cheers for, apart for Shizuka. When she goes to get herself some drinks, she quietly sings by herself, but Oijo catches her and joins her singing. Shizuka expresses how she fears that her singing will make their ears bleed, but Oijo assures her, saying how singing karaoke is not about singing brilliantly, but it's about having fun even though she might sing horribly like Taylor Swift. Back in the karaoke room, Shizuka thinks hard about what she must do, but unbeknownst to all of them, Kushiri activates one of her potions, the potion that boosts someone's cuteness, thinking she'll get to use it and get everyone to see her as cute. However, to her and everyone's surprise, Shizuka takes the stage and holds the microphone ready to sing a song. When she starts singing, her cuteness hits everyone like a truck, eating Oijo and Hikari, almost sending them off to an Isekai. The girls try to hold on, refusing to give in to the power of Shizuka's cuteness, but one by one, every single one of them falls to her overpowered godly level of cuteness. However, Oijo rises up, and as Shizuka's boyfriend, she refuses to let Shizuka feel sad seeing how everyone is on the floor due to her singing, so he decides to be supportive by singing with her in a duet. It pleases Shizuka that she gets to sing with Oijo, and while the others are overwhelmed by the sight of them, they sing together like creating a world of their own. It causes every single girl to get yeeted out of the building. But as they are falling to the floor, Oijo quickly catches every single one of them. Later, Oijo goes to admire a beautiful sculpture when a beautiful and busty blonde pops up beside him, saying how she's hotter than the sculpture, and when they lock yes, their souls intertwine as soulmates. The girl starts congratulating Oijo for falling in love with her, and she introduces herself as Mimi. She expresses how lucky Oijo is for falling in love with her, and tells him that his ugly-looking face needs an upgrade to be worthy of dating her. Then she transforms Oijo to look like your local pimp who'll probably rent your mom, but when Oijo looks at himself in a mirror, he realizes how he looks similar to Nano. Then they drink bubble tea together, and when Oijo catches Mimi looking at his drink, he offers her to have a sip, but she refuses to do so out of fear of spilling his drink all over her beautiful clothing. Just then, Oijo notices how people are staring at them, and when he asks why, Mimi informs him that people can't help but look at the most beautiful thing there. However, she expresses how she once saw someone even more beautiful than her, and when Oijo hears that, the person who comes to mind is Nano. From a table across from them, another couple is jealously gossiping about them, saying how all of Mimimi's beauty can be erased by a wet wipe. When Ijo tries to defend her, Mimimi tells him not to, saying how beautiful people like her should never feel offended, as their beauty is a product of the hard work they do daily, which makes their beauty earned and not given. Her words pisses off the jealous couple, so the guy approaches with his drink, wanting to dump it all over Mimimi. But when he does it, to Mimimi's surprise, Ijo takes the hit, ending with his clothes dirtied. Suddenly, security pops up and chases the guy for attempting to assault someone. But when the jealous guy is running away, he slips on his own spilled drink. However, Ijo catches him from falling, which shocks the guy, and he asks Ijo why he's helping him after he ruined his day. Ijo tells him that he only ruined his clothes and that he understands how the guy feels for wanting to look cool in front of his girlfriend. It touches the guy's heart, making him cry out of guilt, and he and his girlfriend both apologize to Ijo for what they did. From behind, Mimimi takes off Ijo's white wig and tells him that he is truly beautiful from the inside. She apologizes for forcing him to fit her mold and asks him to be her girlfriend. While Ijo accepts her feelings, to her shock, he reveals that he is already dating 9 other people. But when Mimimi hears how she's going to be her 10th girlfriend, which to her is a pretty number, she agrees to date him. Just then, Shizuka and Nano pop up after they visited the bookstore, but as Ijo is about to introduce Mimimi to them, Mimimi tells Ijo how she recognizes Nano. She reveals how Nano is the person who humiliated her and surpassed her beauty, and she refuses to join any community that Nani is a part of. However, she still wants to date Ijo, so she challenges Nano to a beauty search contest with the winner leaving Ijo's harem, and to everyone's surprise, Nano accepts her challenge to win over Ijo. Years ago, both Mimimi and Nano competed in a beauty contest, and just as Mimimi thought she had won, the victory went to Nano as the ultimate beauty. While disappointed about the loss, she took it gracefully and held out her hand to Nano, asking for friendship, but Nano denied her friend offer, deeming it worthless and not efficient, which left Mimimi in pain. Today, they compete in a beauty search contest to determine which of them will quit Ijo's harem. But before they get started, Karine comes in clutch and demands that they explain to her and the viewers what a beauty search contest is. Mimimi explains that a beauty search contest is when 2 competitors, meaning her and Nano, compete in finding things that are beautiful from their subjects, being Ijo's girlfriends, and with Ijo as the referee, what he determines to be more beautiful will get the competitor the point. They start the battle with Karine as the subject, and while she doesn't want to be the subject, both competitors start naming things about her that are beautiful, which makes Karine fold. They continue the battle through the girls one by one, naming beautiful things about them from their melons to their lips and to their vertical lips, which results in Nano taking the lead. The next subject is Shizuka, and Nano feels confident that she will win this round and the whole contest after being the person who is closest to Shizuka. But when it gets to naming things about her that are beautiful, she keeps mentioning cute things about her, which don't count as beautiful. The round ends with Mimimi getting the point, making it a tie heading to the last round, which is Ijo as the subject. With Mito as the referee, she starts the round, and Mimimi starts the battle by calling Ijo's thick eyebrows beautiful. But when Mito is about to give Mimimi a point, to everyone's surprise, Ijo's eyebrows disappeared, and he reveals that he has shaved them. It forces Mito not to give Mimimi the point, and Nano takes this chance to call Ijo's well-tailored uniform beautiful. But to everyone's surprise, again he rips apart his clothes, forcing Mito not to give Nano the point. The two continue calling beautiful things from Ijo, but for every single thing called beautiful, Ijo takes them away from the list, and after half an hour, he ends up looking like Luffy recaps viewers on the daily. While everyone is confused about what's happening, Ijo declares that with no one gaining a point, neither competitor loses, so neither of them has to leave the group. However, Mimi rejects the decision, not wanting to accept a draw against Nano, so she declares that she will be leading the group, but Nano stops her. She apologizes for trampling over her feelings in the past, revealing how, compared to the past, she is a different person after all the experiences she had with Ijo and the girls, which makes them a more beautiful person on the inside. To return her gesture in the past, Nano holds Mimi's hand and asks her to be her friend. Mimi starts tweaking and recalls how she always had admired Nano for her beauty and wanted to become her friend through the beauty contest, so Mimi accepts Nano's friendship and tells her how lucky she is to befriend someone as beautiful as her. The next day, Ijo formally welcomes Mimimi as one of his girlfriends, and just like usual, they all accept her without any issues. Mimimi tells the girls that with her in the group, she will turn all of them super beautiful, and she starts by putting makeup on Kushiri, and when she finishes, Kushiri looks prettier than before. However, when she tries to look hot, she looks like your ugly mom instead. She then kisses Ijo, which surprises Mimimi to know that they kiss Ijo frequently. But seeing them kiss reminds Mimimi of how kissing someone will release hormones that will make them more beautiful, so she encourages them all to kiss Ijo. Just then, Kushiri presents them with a lip balm that will make them feel enhanced pleasure, and Nano takes the first try with the balm. When she kisses Ijo, she drools underneath and falls down to her knees. Kushiri then takes the second kiss, and when she is also unable to hold back her fountain, she's forced to apologize to this anime creator for what she just did. Then Mito takes the next kiss, and when she kisses him, it forces her back to her obedient self like a puppy, begging to be ordered around. Then, Hikari takes the next kiss, and when she feels the tingling sensation, she begs Ijo to make her a new mother again, but she quickly gets stopped. Then, Aiku takes the next one, and when she gets her tongue tangled, she tries her best to hold on, and it ends up with her tearing both her ACLs. On the other hand, Karine plays hard to get, but when Ijo approaches and kisses her, it blows her socks off so much that she hugs Ijo hard, almost breaking his spine. The kisses continue with Kurumi, who has never tasted something this tasty, so she tries to devour Ijo's lips before getting stopped. Then Shizuka, who, after the steamy kiss, gets blown away by the wind. Then Hikari, who, after kissing Ijo, sprinkles so hard that she releases ketchup from her nose. However, when Karine approaches to help her, Hikari lets her inner scissor lover take over and kisses Karine, causing chaos. Lastly, it leaves Mimimi as the only one Ijo hasn't kissed yet, and when he does kiss her, it causes her to get transported to Food Wars and gets her clothes blown off. After rounds of kissing, all the girls become so beautiful that they change art styles, while Ijo has turned into a beautiful art piece. The next day, while the girls are occupied getting a lecture about beauty from Mimimi, Ijo is heading home by himself when his classmate, Kakure, walks past, and he recognizes her as the girl with the weirdest design. Suddenly, the wind starts blowing hard in their direction, forcing Kakure to cover her bangs, not wanting anyone to see her face. Just then, a store sign flies in her direction, but before it hits Kakure, Ijo saves her while the sign hits the god of love. When Ijo sees Kakure's eyes, their souls intertwine as soulmates. After calming down, Kakure thanks Ijo for saving her and expresses how she's shy and uses her bangs to cover her face from people seeing it. Even though she tries to keep a low profile, it surprises her that Ijo knows that they're in the same class, and she expresses how, compared to wearing weird masks, she opted to wear bangs to cover her face. When Ijo suddenly rizzes her up, saying that she's really pretty, Kakure gets extremely flustered and vanishes into thin air, leaving only a teddy bear. The next day, Ijo finds a note from Kakure, who shows Ijo her gratitude through a homemade toy that she knitted herself for Ijo, and he completely folds to how determined she is. For the whole day, whenever Ijo tries to talk to Kakure, she always vanishes into thin air, leaving a stuffed toy behind. Desperate, Ijo asks the girls what they know about Kakure, and Hikari tells Ijo that while she's a quiet girl, she secretly is packing massive melons under her shyness. Ijo realizes that while Kakure carries everything that people would die for, like massive melons, she didn't choose to have them, and it made her really insecure. Then he walks into Kakure in the hallway, but instead of confronting her directly, Ijo speaks to her without seeing each other, saying how sorry he is for calling her pretty. However, Kakure assures Ijo that she's not angry at him, and that the real reason she's avoiding him is because she's too shy to tell him how she loves him. She quickly vanishes out of embarrassment and shows up in the classroom next to Ijo. She reveals that her technique is a misdirection by using her dolls, just like what Kuroko does, and Ijo realizes that this anime's creator probably likes Kuroko. Kakure vents about how she doesn't believe she can fall in love while being a shy person, but to Kakure's surprise, Ijo responds to her feelings, saying how he loves her back. It causes her brain to overheat, and she vanishes. After that day, the story ends with Kakure being the only girl in this anime Ijo fails to save, but Ijo rejects that story and creates his own, one where he succeeds in winning Kakure's heart. In class, he sees that Kakure hasn't gone home, but because he can't find her, he realizes that she should be behind him. When he looks back, he finds one of her dolls, further proving that she has been behind him all this time. To find her, Ajo keeps looking around the class in quick succession, and while all he can see are her dolls popping up, he refuses to give up. It ends with Kakir getting tired and hiding behind the curtains, but Ajo finds her easily, stating how he knows she will get tired eventually. Ajo uses his godly reason and tells Kakir that no matter where she hides, Ajo will always find her and that she can fall in love with him without feeling inadequate. Just then, her binder rips, revealing jiggle physics of the gods, and Ajo realizes that both Hikari and Hikari have been outclassed completely in the melon department. The next day, Ajo introduces John Cena as his newest girlfriend as no one is there, but from behind Ajo, Kakir pops up, revealing herself as the newest girlfriend. She hands them all homemade dolls she made that resemble each person, and they all accept her happily. Just then, Ajo suggests that, since Kakir is great at hiding, they play hide and seek. But Hikari adds another stipulation, and that the winner gets a kiss from Ajo. Then, the game starts, and after Ajo counts 5 minutes, he goes looking for them. Ajo walks past IQ and Mado, who are both hiding above Ajo, trying to hang from the ceiling, not wanting to get caught. Meanwhile, Hikari and Karine are arguing in the gym storage room about being in the same spot. Just then, Ajo walks in, and they hide under the same cover while in a position that your uncle did with your mom 9 months before you were born. They both start making happy noises, feeling tingly underneath each other's touches, and unable to hold back, they reveal themselves to Ajo. Then, the trio goes to look for the others, and when they enter the lab, they find Kushiri and Namimi both asleep inside a cabinet. They then go to the library and head inside the dark room, thinking that Shizuka would never hide there, but when they open a giant box inside, they find Shizuka alongside Nano. In the cafeteria, Kurumi is stuck hiding with Hikari under a table, and when the others show up, Kurumi ends up stuck between Hikari's melons. However, the smell and sensation make Kurumi starve, and when Hikari looks at Kurumi, she finds her drinking melon juice, causing them to panic and get caught. On their way back to the starting point, Nano finds puddles on the floor, and when they look up, they find both IQ and Mado, who have been up there for hours. It leaves them with only Kakir hiding, and that is when the vice president walks past them with her trolley. Ajo asks to look at the vice president's box, and inside, they don't find Kakir, but Ajo spots a doll there. He asks the vice president if she saw a vanishing girl earlier, and when she tells Ajo that she did, Ajo knows where Kakir is hiding. From the vice president's hair, Ajo pulls out Kakir, who has been hiding there, and reveals that he suspects that Kakir used misdirection on the principal to hide in her hair. The girls praise Kakir for her fantastic win, and Ajo is happy to see that through a game of hide and seek, his girls have become close. They declare Kakir as the winner and encourage her to kiss Ajo as her prize, but she expresses how she's embarrassed if everyone sees her kiss. After hearing that, Ajo tells the girls not to pressure Kakir and that she can do it another time, but when they all walk away and are not looking, Ajo kisses Kakir on the lips, causing her to vanish out of embarrassment again. That night, Karine dreams about how her tsundere, hard-to-get attitude causes Ajo to break up with her. She wakes up in cold sweat, and when she looks at their group picture, she thinks hard about what she truly wants to be. At school, Ajo brings a special love cookie for the girls, and while the others show interest, Karine plays hard to get, but quickly realizes how awful she is. Then, when Ajo offers it to her, she eats it while saying how she doesn't want it, and she questions why she can't simply thank him for his gesture. Then, while the group is hanging out, Kushiri plays wrestle against IQ, and when she loses, she tries to find a potion to make herself stronger. However, she brings the wrong potion, and when she reveals that it's a potion that will reverse someone's tsundere attitude, Karine takes an interest in it. When nobody is looking, she drinks it, and when Kushiri accidentally gets yeeted and hits her, Kushiri and the others apologize on Kushiri's behalf, begging Karine not to get angry. To everyone's surprise, Karine reacts gracefully, and Kushiri is confused by what's happening. Just then, a sun-like light appears and Kushiri recognizes it as its tsundere's, and that the light resembles Karine's hard-to-get character. The light then disappears, and Karine acts like someone they don't recognize, someone who's very easygoing and friendly. To test her out, IQ starts by asking Karine to smack her with her bat, but unlike before, Karine hits her softly, which disappoints IQ's desire to feel pain. Then the others do the same, starting with asking her to mingle their melons, to asking for compliments, to joining them in sewing, which Karine accepts all of their requests. However, Aiku expresses how while the new Karine is good, she also loves the old Karine, and they all admit that the old Karine is the one that they missed. After hearing that, Ijo asks if they can reverse the effect, but before they start any discussion, Karine expresses to all of them how she doesn't want to turn back to her old self and that the old her would never join them in their activities. Aijo asks Karine to walk with him, and when he holds her hand, unlike before, Karine tells Aijo how she loves holding hands with him. Then, Aijo expresses to Karine how the Karine he fell in love with was the Karine that was tsundere, and while he will also love the current Karine, he doesn't want her to change because she hates herself. After hearing that, Karine starts crying and tells Aijo that she wants to turn back to normal. They hug it out, and after hours of experimentation, Kushiri finishes the potion to turn Karine back to normal. When Karine drinks the potion, she glows bright gold like her tsundere returns, but to their disappointment, she stays the same way. While Aijo wants to explore more ways for Karine, Hikari tells them that they need to go home as it's already dark. Just then, Kekir suggests that Karine tries to play tsundere like her old self, but when Karine attempts to do it, it is hurt to watch for them. Hikari feels worried that Karine's parents would be scared seeing the current Karine, so she invites her to stay at her place, but when Aijo sees how Hikari is drooling like a degenerate for wanting Karine to stay with her, Aijo decides to also stay with them. Then, Aijo joins Karine and Hikari in the bedroom, and they reminisce about how everything started with the three of them. Aijo informs Karine that Kushiri told him that her tsunderes will come back, so Aijo suggests that they keep trying to make it stronger by making Karine act like a tsundere. He starts by telling Karine that he loves her, but instead of denying him, she tells him she loves him too, and Hikari joins them, which is not what Aijo wants. He then hugs her, but instead of punching Aijo, both Karine and Hikari join the hug, making it a lovely group hug, which frustrates Aijo. Just then, Hikari takes this opportunity and tells Aijo that what he needs to do is to mingle their melons to provoke the tsundere reaction. But to Hikari's disappointment, Aijo pulls out a pair of robotic gloves that will prevent him from feeling anything in his hands. He then starts with Karine's cardboards, but instead of getting smacked on the head, Karine makes happy noises. Hikari tells Karine that she will show what a tsundere looks like, but when Aijo does her melons, she drools uncontrollably. Later, the two girls bath together, and when Karine tries to thank Hikari for how much she helped her, Hikari tells her to shut up. Hikari expresses to Karine how she was the person who helped her so much in the past, so Hikari wants to return the favor, starting by making her release lovely, happy noises. While the two girls are playing rock, paper, scissors without the first two, Hikari is outside on the floor with nosebleeds after hearing what's happening in the bathroom. Aijo and Maido save her from a degenerate death, and Aijo makes it his mission to bring Karine back to normal. The next day, Aijo announces to the group that he has found a way to bring Karine's tsundere attitude back. He explains that every human being is able to generate the tsunderes that Karine once lost, and Aijo plans to channel their tsundere energies into Karine. But he warns them that if the energy is not harmonized, it might cause Karine to pop. So Aijo tells the plan of how they will channel the energy to Aijo before he transfers it to Karine, just like Goku's spirit bomb, while making Karine into Majib Buu. They start their operation with each girl's acting like a tsundere, saying things like how they don't love Aijo to how they don't want his golden pickle, and it causes them to release their tsundere energy and channel it for Aijo to harmonize. However, the weight of the tsundere energy is too powerful for Aijo, and he realizes just how powerful Karine is to be carrying this amount of tsundere energy while still being able to profess her feelings for him. Graciously, Aijo tells Karine that he loves her and channels all that tsundere energy to her, giving her the hard-to-get attitude back. It hits Karine like a truck, and when Aijo tries to help her, Kushiri stops him, saying that all they can do is support her. The group starts showing their support to Karine, telling her things they miss about her, from how she yelled at them to how she tries her best not to bust whenever Aijo kisses her. It gives her the motivation she needs, and when the dust settles, Karine shows that she has returned to normal. Everyone celebrates Karine's return, but when Karine thanks them for helping her, the group thinks that she's still unwell, to which Karine assures them that she is. Afterward, while Aijo is away, the girls talk about how Aijo first told each girl how he loved them, and with each girl, Ajo approached them differently, which the girls are ogling and gossiping about. However, they realize that while Ajo told them that he loves them often, they have never done the same for him, and Nano warns them that the lack of communication might put their relationship at risk. Just then, Ajo returns after helping someone with thousands of boxes, and after their previous discussion, Kushiri steps up first to Ajo. She hugs him adorably and tells him just how much she loves him after how he's willing to be her test rabbit, which causes Ajo to cry happy tears. Nano steps up, saying how much she loves him for being able to be efficient at patting their heads, which also making Ajo happy cry. AQ steps up, telling Ao she loves him for being the person who gives her back shots hard with a bat, and Ajo cries again. With her phone, Shizuka expresses how she loves Ajo for always being gentle with her. Hikari steps in, saying how she loves Ajo's big hands that hold her tight and squeeze her melons, but Karine suplexes him after hearing this. However, Hikari admits that she's spotting her fantasies, and both she and Karine apologize to Ajo for the misunderstanding. Hikari takes Ajo's hand and puts it on her head, saying how she loves him for making her the happiest girl in the world. It boasts Ajo straight into Hahar's melons, but she forces him to stay there, saying how she loves him for being born. Mado snoops in, saying how she loves him for teaching her the concept of give and take, even letting her massage him while he massages her back. It makes Ajo cry, and when he slips, Mimi catches him, saying how she loves him for having such a beautiful heart. From behind, Kakura appears and vanishes, leaving a doll, but while she's nervous, she forces herself to show up behind him. Kakura expresses how, while she vanishes from time to time, her love for him will never disappear. Meanwhile, Kurumi and Karine are struggling to express their feelings, but Kurumi has had enough and steps up to Ajo. She expresses how happy that he always gives her good food and tells him she loves him for being the taste she loves best. It leaves Karine by herself, and while Ajo assures her it's fine that she doesn't do the same, Karine rejects his assurance. Karine expresses to Ajo how, despite her hard-to-get attitude, she loves everything about him. It causes him to cry again, but Ajo wants to do the same, and while the anime's credits are rolling, Ajo goes full rap god, saying how much she loves each and every one of them, causing all 11 girls to fold while 89 of them are still yet to be found.